All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how it is these days? It feels like everything is getting more and more expensive, right? And honestly, I'm right there with you. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
So we had a listener actually write in with a question that I think a lot of us have been wondering about too. Can a president really do anything to lower prices nationwide? I mean, it seems like such a huge, complicated issue, right?
Yeah, it really is. And to answer your question, it's not as simple as yes or no. We've got this CBS News article about some of the steps that former President Trump took to try and tackle this issue.
Oh, interesting. So this was like during his presidency.
Exactly. We're going to be taking a look at that and kind of unpack it a bit because, we often think about the president as this incredibly powerful figure.
Right. Makes sense.
But when it comes to something like the economy, their ability to directly control things is actually pretty limited.
So are you saying that even if the president like signs an executive order or something, they can't just make prices go down?
Well, not exactly. It's definitely more complicated than that. I mean, think of it this way.
Okay.
The president can try to influence the direction of the economy for sure,
Okay.
but they can't just control all the different factors that go into things like, setting prices nationwide.
So it's more about like nudging things in a certain direction rather than like straight up dictating what happens.
Exactly. It's like trying to steer a giant ship, you know?
Gotcha.
You can set a course, but there are going to be currents and winds and all sorts of other things that are going to affect where you end up.
So what did Trump actually try to do then to lower prices? Like what kind of actions did he take?
Well, according to the CBS article, one of the things he focused on was trying to bring down the cost of prescription drugs.
I mean, that's definitely something that impacts a lot of people.
Absolutely. And his approach was to allow for the importation of cheaper drugs from Canada.
Oh, okay. So basically just getting them from somewhere where they're less expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as you might imagine, that idea faced a lot of pushback, particularly from the pharmaceutical companies here in the US.
Yeah, I mean, they probably weren't too thrilled about that.
Not really. And, there were legal challenges and all kinds of complexities.
So even though it might seem like a straightforward solution on the surface, it ended up being pretty messy.
Oh, for sure. And that's kind of a recurring theme when it comes to these sorts of interventions in the economy, right? Like even when a president tries to do something with good intentions, it doesn't always translate into a smooth, easy fix.
Right. And the article even mentioned that a lot of people were skeptical about whether these executive orders were really going to work. I mean, what were some of the arguments against them?
One of the main criticisms was that these moves were more about appearance than substance.
So more about looking like he was doing something than actually making a real difference.
Exactly. Some critics argued that it was more about political optics,
I can see that.
showing voters that he was taking action, even if those actions weren't really going to solve the underlying
So
problems.
basically a Band-Aid solution for a much bigger issue?
Pretty much. And then